It's great. Thank you for coming today. Sorry about Mother Nature yesterday not being cooperative. Um, but our trial plants has been a lot of fun. It's a really big learning experience. It's nice to see how these annuals grow. Initially, we got some perennials. We got to try out heuchera. We did get one perennial 3 years ago, and I'll show you. There's hardly any left. The critters have loved them. Coreopsis, and this is its third year of trials. But the rest is all annuals. And we used to be able to get plants from Ball Horticulture too. They cut us, but a lot of companies have cut down all the free plants they give up. So we get in about 1,100 plants a year. This year we got 46 trial plants, 25 of which are new. And I'll try to point those out as we go around. In addition, we had Okay, this is the trials and tribulations part I'm going to tell you about. We've had tribulations this year. So the grower for Proven Winners, that's the main company we get things from now, is in New Hampshire. They had a giant snowstorm when we were supposed to have our plants shipped. It delayed everything. A lot of them came in cold singed. A lot died. Not a lot, just of 2 to 3 different kinds. They had to resend us things, but in resending us things, they sent us 7 bonus plants, ones that had already been out. We never turned down fabulous plants. So we ended up with a total of 53 kinds of plants that we had to put in our 5 trials areas. The ones here, all around the shed, and the pots in the theme garden. In addition, we do some other pots there too. And it's a joy to do this. I try to foist a lot off on the Idea Garden sections because it's nice to see the plants grow here and in other conditions. And if you just look at the west border, for instance, they're using a lot of plants from Proven Winners that have gorgeous combinations. Not all the ones we got this year, but other ones too. So anyway, it's a great thing. Are Proven Winner plants GMO? No, they're not. Most of them are hybrids, but they have an international group of growers all over the country, South Africa, Japan, Europe, and through here that try to select out the very best plants, and that's for all of their plants. But particularly the annuals. The annuals, it depends upon where you read. They may try them out from 2 to 3 years before we get them, or up to 6 years. So they could have hundreds of plants out in their field, and they only take a little less than 3% of the annuals that are then set up to be trialed and eventually end here about a year before they are introduced to the market. So those 25 plants I said that are new, they should come on the market in 2025. And it's just a treat doing all of this. They do tissue culture, so they try to keep the plants all very similar. They're kind of clones, in fact. And they arrive in the greenhouse about thumb size, and then the fabulous people in the greenhouse make sure they're getting all they need. Not too much water, which is sometimes a problem with the overactive student waterers that are there when we're not there, and getting enough fertilizer. Annuals like a lot of fertilizer, not a lot, but consistent fertilizer because they're just generating energy, making all the flowers of the big, beautiful plant. And what does Proven Winners look for? They want to have plants, most of all, the consumer will have success with. So they look for bigger flowers, a richer color, a better form, stronger leaves, and a disease resistant. They try to get everything to be disease resistant. So that's starting out pretty good. I am going to need to tell them about some problems we had with a fungus infection. I'll go into that in a little bit. But most of the time, all the plants do absolutely wonderful. And it's interesting how what they'll have that in the same genus will look quite a bit different. Now, so far as the new plants we go, this is not all of them, but I was going to show you some. And we got a lot of varieties, 5 varieties of Angelonia this year. And one of them is refusing to bloom right now. Some of the Angelonia do decide, it's hot, I'm not taking this. I'm not going to bloom for a bit. Wedgwood blue is over there pouting. It's a purple color with white. But this is a new one. This is called Angelonia, I think it's like Angel Face Wedgwood Pink. And it's a beautiful plant, particularly if it's up close in a container where you can see it. Now, some of the Angelonia right now, with the heat of the end of July and into August, they like to take a rest. So they may not churn out flowers quite as heavily as they do in the spring. But this is a very beautiful one and a new one this year. And the other one is new, is improved. Blah, I'm spilling water on myself. Is angel face white. And it's just a very clear white. It doesn't, if you see there's a little dead bloom on the end, Proven Winters tries to pride itself in needing their plants, annual plants, needing less attention, meaning you do not have to deadhead as much. So a lot of these just fall off. That's not true with some plants we tested this year, and I'll go into that. Some of them do need deadheading. Um, these are ones that are already out, and there's a perfectly pink here. It's got a really nice, deep, dark eye to it, and they're angel face blue. Now, what do you think is the most favorite color of all the annuals that they put out? Purple, number one color. Number two color, that was a hint. Pink, pink. So purple is their favorite color, and they go a little bit, well, of course, they're a company, they're selling things. They go with marketing, and they will kind of look across the plants of what would market well. Well, maybe purples are going to market well. They may want to push a purple more than some of the other colors. Now, other things that we got new, so you can see close-ups, is we got three kinds of Kufia. Here it is. This has been out for a while. This one is not new. We had two new ones. This is Kufia vermillionaire. And to us, it seems, I don't know if I'm not remembering it right, but it seems this year it's a little more sparse than I remember before. I don't know why, but they grow about this tall, and these long shaped or firecracker shaped blooms are a magnet for hummingbirds. I plant this not because I do orange or reds, but because I want to see the hummers come in on it. And the two that are new are, this is a big long name. I'll probably get it wrong. Kufia Totally Tempted Frosted Violets and Kufia Totally Tempted Watermelon. Good, I got it right without even reading. But they're gorgeous up close. So an up close plant would be wonderful. They look pretty good in the landscape also. But I was talking about trials and tribulations this year. Another thing is critters. Critters have loved our garden this year. The Japanese beetles are all over these. And even the firecracker, the vermillionaire too, which is surprising. They are listed in some places as not being attracted to Japanese beetles. Our Japanese beetles, like the deer in Michigan for me, did not read that. So they've been like swarming this in certain areas. And as Phyllis was talking about, sometimes when the Japanese beetle come in, they start chomping on a plant, then it emits a specific odor that attracts more. So they are jumping on a container over there in East Border, or I mean in East Trials, and that is just annoying. Japanese beetles are weird. Now I was just picking some of the plants, the trial plants in roses, and I noticed their pink geranium. There was some study done in 2011 that Japanese beetles don't like or have a problem with geranium petals. If they eat the geranium petal, it stuns them and paralyzes them, and they go on their back and only move their legs and their antenna a little bit, and they stay paralyzed for about 24 hours. They like geraniums, but the geraniums at least paralyze them for a while. And does that get rid of them totally? No, but it is nice because maybe some of the other insects or predators of beetles would come in and eat them while they're paralyzed on their back. So I thought that was pretty interesting to learn about. And the fact that Roses has planted a lot of geraniums around their roses. And of course, Japanese beetles do love roses very, very much. So there's some plants that are resistant to it. And the Kufia were supposed to be on that list. It's not true. They loved ours. What else did we get new? I think probably the best thing in Proven Winners are their petunias. They're super petunias. And they have regular super petunias. They have mini vistas, which are tiny powerhouses of smaller blooms, but they flood the plant. Any mini vista, I am nuts about. And then the bigger bloomed ones, called the Vista ones, are the famous Vista bubblegum. We've got only three of them in the west border. They just take over. They look good too. But the new plants, the new petunias this year, are really spiffy. This is called Tierra Blue, and it just glows with the white eye. It's a gorgeous petunia, and it looks great in the landscape, as we'll see. It really makes a flood of blooms with that too. Its cousin, Princess Like Pink with a white eye, is called Tierra Pink. And this was supposed to come out last year. I don't know why they delayed it, but we got it this year to try out. And it's even a little bit more exuberant and wider spreading than the purple version. And then, always my favorite, a mini vista. This is a new mini vista for next year, as those two are new, and it's called plum veined. It has some darker veining and a deeper eye. It's been great this year. In fact, these petunias are doing very well at the front of the border over there, where we think we've had some problems with the fungus infecting the soil, Phytophthora, and I will mention a little bit more about that in a bit. And the last petunia, I read about Proven Winners. They said that they look for colors and they try to improve the plant. If they improve the plant and it's looking better, better form, more disease resistant, bigger blooms or whatever, but it changes the color a little bit, then they have to go in and think about it. Do we want to introduce that new one? It's a better plant, but the color's a little different. So is this red enough? Well, it sounds like they did a lot of fussing around with this one, and we'll see it in the ground better. This is Supertunia Bermuda Beach. And we got it as new last year. It was more salmon colored, a salmon pink. It does have a variety of pinks when we see it in the landscape. But this year, they tried to make it back to more of the true pink. And you can see some great examples in roses there. That's two plants looking fabulous. And we like it because when the wind blows, you'll see the white background of it, kind of a flutter of it. Oh, thank you, Vanna White, Phyllis, showing the Bermuda Beach, which I think it's a beautiful flower, but you have to like that pink. So they changed it last year, they changed it again this year, and I hope it stays the same because we do enjoy that plant. All right, so we got a bunch of other plants. They often will send one that's already out. This is Heliotropium, Augusta Lavender. This is the new one for 2025. I've got to have this. This is a 5 plus. This is an award winner so far. This is the Heliotrope um, Aromagica purple. And I hated to even cut this because they have these huge blooms of purple on the plant, and they're just so attractive. This is the kind of heliotrope that I have bought off and on for years and promptly killed in my garden. They do not like to be overly wet, but this is a tougher one. It's growing great in the landscape. You don't have to just baby it in a container. Now, this guy was real unhappy when it came to the greenhouse, and it really doesn't like to be overwatered. I don't think either one of them like being overwatered. But it's planted in the landscape. It's a tough character, and it's done very well. So they also supposed to have some fragrance, and I've taken pictures of the pollinators on them. Pollinators think they're good, so that's great. The curious thing is we have a bunch of salvias this year, and see how many are new. Two new ones. Well, we got all kinds of salvias. This is Salvia Rockin' Deep Purple. It's a bigger plant. The calyxes are darker purple, and they look good, but if you see, there are not too many blooms. We always wish this had more blooms, but it's still pretty even without that. The hummingbirds love that one. Now, the thing that I find a little confusing is the series name that they've had for some of these this year. Hold on a moment. They decided to call some of their new ones Unplug, and they have other Salvia Unplugged series out, but to me they don't look too much alike, and I think it's a little confusing. This is a new one this year, Salvia Unplugged Red, and it'll have a little bit of pinkish tinge to some of these, but to me it looks like it's more the Salvia coccinea type, which is very different from the salvia, like the Victoria Blue, the Ferencia type. These both are called unplugged. The new one is the white, and the one that's gorgeous color is so blue that's already out. So, but they call these different, they seem different to me, all unplugged. So I find that a little confusing. On the white, it again has a very silvery stalk, and a lot of the spent blooms, the calyxes, are kind of a silvery white. It does stand out if you look at it from a distance, which is great. It's not full of blooms or as full, it seems, as the So Blue, which has been out. But I think they both have their own advantages, just depending. And I don't know, this one is a native in Florida, and the red, it reseeds itself everywhere. um, I don't know if this is going to reseed. Most of their plants are sterile, so they keep blooming hard all season. So we'll have to see if that. This is also called unplugged, and to me, the shape and the form is different. It looks more like the Rockin' series, only shorter. This is one that's been out, unplugged pink, and it's really pretty. They have a taller cousin of it called Rockin' Pink or Rockin' Fuchsia. And that one really attracts the hummingbirds too. So I'd love to grow them for the hummingbirds. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about the scaevola. This is going to edge on the more tribulations that we've had. We got six scaevola this year, and three are new. They're white, pink, and blue. There's a difference. This is the new one. It's called Stardiva, and the petals of it are star-shaped. They're all the way around, whereas the older form, and I don't know if you can see that up close. I'll hold real still. This is the one where the petals Stardiva are all the way around, and this is the older form of Scaevola, which Scaevola is Latin. Here comes the gory story, so you can pay attention. So the Scaevola got the name from a Latin meaning left-handed. And there was a very famous Roman soldier, long time ago, that he was so brave when he was captured by the enemy, he put his hand in the fire, his right hand, sorry. He put his right hand in the fire, rendering it unusable. So he was called left-handed Scaevola after that, and all of his descendants also. It's a nasty sounding thing, but he got let go by the enemy because they thought he was so brave. And somehow Linnaeus in the 1700s decided he should name this flower Scaevola. And evidently the story of the Roman brave hero still is known by the school children in Italy. So now here's a gross story with a nice flower. Um, but these are the left-handed ones where they just have a palmate-shaped flower. And I liked Phyllis's description of one growing in a container. It's like little starched petticoats, the white one, coming out of it. It makes a beautiful flower. But tribulations, we had some problems with it this year. And we took a bunch of them in the front were dying out. You can see how there's some of the whirlwind blue over here that wants to die. And we think most of that, because of the plant clinic samples that Phyllis took in, is due to Phytophthora fungus. Phytophthora is a wicked little fungus. There's many different kinds. It can mess up trees, shrubs, perennials, and annuals. It loves petunias. Now, I'm surprised the petunias aren't more affected, but it certainly took out the majority of our scaevola, and that's why they look terrible. Other critter problems were, besides the Japanese beetle, we planted the begonias on the north side, and we think it was a woodchuck came and almost dug up about 40 or 50 of them and munched off the top. We didn't think they'd make it. Our dedicated trials team put them back in, and you'll see they look great, thank goodness. Um, but we've had rabbits, I think, continually coming in and shaving off the portulaca. And that's been front and the back. It, even a little bit in the center theme area. So all of those critters, in addition to the Japanese beetles, in addition to human critters, which popped a salvia out of our front container before the garden walk, and also decided to take a couple dahlias home from the gazebo. So that's enough of that. We don't need any more critter help in our gardens. What else is important? Well, Phytophthora treatment. What we have an integrated pest management certified master gardener. Phyllis Williams is one, and she put elite fungicide along the front of the border plants here in here in hopes that we can calm it down. It can overwinter in the soil. So maybe that's why our scabola were a little choked and not doing very well last year. It was perhaps starting then. So it's a toughie to deal with. That's why if you plant things in a container and you change the soil every year, you might have more success with plants that are prone to it. So this will probably be treated again, and we hope we can get things back to normal with that. Um,
How many times are you going to treat it?
I have to come over here to hear you.
How many times are you going to treat it?
What?
How many times are you going to treat it?
Tell us, expert.
We're going to treat it. We're going to alternate fungicides. And so the Alliette is once a month, and that just happened. And then we're going to bring in good old Captan. Just and every 2 weeks, then it will get Captan on top
Right.
of that. But that helps keep from getting resistance in phytophthora.
Yeah, it's a tricky thing to deal with, and I believe last year they had a problem with that over in the Serenity, and they replaced the soil. So hopefully this will not dampen our ability to do trials next year. And at least we took it into the plant clinic. I recommend that if home gardeners have problems with stuff, they can't figure it out. And we got an answer, and now we know how to treat that a little bit better. Okay, I think that's all of that. I'd like to, well, any other questions? I'm going to start over in the east border, and then we'll go to the south, the west, the shade areas, and finally to the pots. So a lot of times we get an awful lot of blue and pink plants, which I put, or pastel ones, I tend to put on the west side. We tend to save this area for the hot colors, the oranges, yellows, and reds. This is one of the new dahlias this year. We got 4 colors of it. This dahlia is called Virtuoso, and this is classy carmine. The blooms are gorgeous. The plant is a nice, fat, rounded form. Most all of them are very healthy and very vigorous. But here's the exception to not having to deadhead. This one you should deadhead if you want it to look nice, because what happens is you'll see a lot of the old blooms looking brown and nasty on it. So our dedicated trials care team has been going around and deadheading them. That seems to be particularly true with the yellow dahlia, yellow virtuoso, or virtuoso yellow. And I'm not sure I would buy the yellow at this point. I think I would the vibrant violet and the classy carmine just because they seem to have more blooms and the old blooms don't tend to show up as much. We don't know if this is a tuber. I asked the company and they said, we don't know. How can they not know? I don't know. But we'll find out, I guess. So, Dahlia, Virtuoso, Classy Carmine, a good plant. This was a bonus plant, the ever wonderful Lantana. This one is Basket Tangelo. It is so happy in a container. What a fabulous plant, but it's not new. And the other one, you can, we can probably see it better over there. This is one of those mini Vista petunias, the yellow color. It came out a couple years ago. It's not a brilliant gold yellow, but a little more subtle yellow. We'll see it over there in the south thing, but it is a great plant just because of the energy it has, just putting out blooms all the time. And this is the kufia that the Japanese beetles found, but they forgot to come after that one. So that's the kufia totally tempted watermelon. It looks very nice in the ground, and it usually looks good in a container, except when the Japanese beetles get it. And for fun, I like to include some edibles in the garden. I got in trouble last year because we tried an orange Swiss chard Oriole, and it was beautiful, but they all looked like they were not going to live, so we planted too many. One day I was here, I picked a wheelbarrow and a half, and I know Tom picked 100 pounds of chard. He was like, "Don't ever plant it again." Okay, I didn't. So we only planted a few celery, and this is celery tango. It's kind of hard to grow in a greenhouse because you have to start it so early. But it's been really fun to have a little upright plant with a feathery texture, and it's over near the coreopsis. Uh, the Kufia vermillionaire, the hummingbird attractant in the middle. And what I should have done, Judy, do you mind getting that stick that's over in the seat? I should have brought my stick. I'll use the celery. Anyway, so this plant is fabulous. Put it in a pot near your porch or someplace so you can see the hummingbirds come in on it. We really liked it. Now, I haven't, thank you. I have not seen the hummingbirds come to this, so I'm not sure. The other kufia, it's a different form. Portulaca, as I mentioned, we're having a terrific time of the critters eating all the blooms off. And Portulaca, as you know, doesn't like to wake up until about 9 o'clock. When we come here for early trial evaluations, we have to wait till they open up. But there are a couple new ones that are good. This is one of the new ones. This is the Portulaca Mojave Red, and it has a brilliant yellow center with kind of an orangish tinge to it, going out to a red. Very sorry. This, there. Thank you. The mini vistas. You can't get any better than the mini vista yellow if you're looking for a flood of color. There is the perennial that we are on the third year of trials now, and that is the Coreopsis candlelight. It's done very well, but the critters love it. It ate all of them in West Border. It ate several of them in the front entrance. We have a total of 5 left out of many, and I don't know. But it's got a very pretty yellow color. Would I buy that over some other varieties now? I don't know. I don't know. I think there's other good Coreopsis. Will it come back if the rabbits eat it to the bone? Yeah, it comes back every year. It's a perennial, so it's not an annual. It's the third year on that. Now, what? Speaking of coming back, so here is one of the heliotrope Augusta lavender that came back from I don't know what year. Last year, some came back in the West Border, and we didn't plant it. So I might give that more bonus things if it decides to come back quite a bit. Um, Helianthus, the sunflower in the back, Sun Credible. There's 2 kinds that they have. That is the yellow, and it's a very good plant. It needs to be roped up a little bit because it likes to sprawl and get big. But the one I like better is Saturn. Saturn has an ochre rim on the inside, and we were shipped that, but it got cold damage. So we didn't get to plant that this year. What I wanted to point out is we've got a couple coleus in here. This one has been a winner so far. This is Mini Me Coleus, Mini Me Chartreuse. And the chartreuse, it gets a little bit of spots in the full sun, but it is a perfect mound, well behaved. It's not lumpy and funny shaped, golden, lime colored, round mass of great leaves. And so this is a big winner. Its cousin came out last year and is the same form. It's a better form this year. Last year was kind of lumpy bumpy. This year, most of it's that nice tight sphere. But what I've noticed last year and this year is there's some reversion to the plant. And I'm going to get a couple samples. Even on the very same stem, it has some variation. And last year it did it here, and it also did it in Michigan State. I go over there to look. This is the way Mini Me is supposed to be. I don't know where. There he is. I don't know if you can see it. So a more petite leaf with a lighter burgundy, but there's a couple variations of reversions. Here's another one. The leaves are bigger, the plant is taller, a lot more deeper burgundy, and on that same plant, it also went into almost all burgundy with a little bit bigger leaf. So 3 variations. And for a clone grown plant, you wonder about that. If people wanted that color, they'd be disappointed if it did into this. Still, I don't find it any big problem because I think all of it's neat and it's all nice and tidy. South Trials. This is bright colors usually, bright yellow, and I love to accent the yellow plants with blues or purples. And so this really makes these guys shine. And here's the Augusta lavender in between it, which has the lavender in it and picks up a bit on the yellows around here. And it is just a bee haven right here. We got a bunch of pollinators on the sunflowers, the sun credible yellow. They're coming over for rocking purple, deep purple. They're buzzing around here. This is another color of the dahlia, the virtuosa dahlia. But if you look at this plant, it's got all sorts of gnarly old blooms on it, and I think it's detractive from having a big full plant. Uh, the Scaevola, this is one that's still going. This is the Scaevola stardiva, and you can tell it right off the bat, as I mentioned, because they have a all the way around petals. Stardiva blue. Here's winter so far, June and July winter. Petunia, Supertunia, Tierra blue with that just shocking, almost day glow white eye. We've seen this one before. Here's what the Angelonia like to do in the intense heat and middle, late season. This is an older version, angel face blue, although it's purple. I don't know who names these. They always call blue things. Call it blue, but it's really purple. Anyway, so it's kind of just not too many blooms right now, and that's par for the course for a lot of Angelonias. Here's the other kind of Scaevola, the whirlwind blue with fungus, most likely. All right. And this has been a winner for the first 2 months. This is out of the 6 portulaca. This is by far the best. Mojave yellow. It's not new. It's been out. But it both sides used to look like that. I don't know why this is pouting a bit. It looks like it got chomped here, but they forgot to eat that side. But that side is absolutely gorgeous. And even in the greenhouse, when some of the plants were getting overwatered, not by our staff, uh, the yellow survived that so much better. So if I were to pick any portulaca, I'd pick the yellow one, the Mojave yellow. And we had something going on with these too, because last week when we were here, they looked half dug up. The dahlia looked half dug up. Now I don't know what critter did that, human or otherwise. And we tried to set them back down in. Did you take one out? Did you have to, Phyllis? Did you have to take one out? Yeah. I assume that this is one that's looking really awful. So, okay. Now we'll go on to the west. Now the west, we got so many pink plants and a lot of purpley blue plants. So that's what that is. And I gave up trying to make a heart or other design. They're hard to trim. I just made it like squares. And really, if you go to other trial areas, they do not do designs with them. They just have long strips, and there's good advantages to that. But I think there's also good advantages to tucking them here and there in the idea garden and trying to make a design here. And the reason why I think we've been able to continue getting the plants, we're the only master gardener, we're the only volunteer group. They cut down to, what was it? I can't remember. Is it 37 or 30? It used to have 40 plus. But they've really cut down the places that can do trials, stuck with universities mostly now. And I think the reason why we keep staying in the game is because of the comments we make. Things like the scaevola look like little white petticoats. They love that stuff. And the comments I made last year, they used in all of their ads. So the comments I get from good volunteers that say not just it's looking good, but then have a description, that's what they love. Now, I mentioned about the heliotropium, Augusta lavender that's been out. There's little bees running around here. But this one I think is a knockout. What my comment was, it's like the Jerry Lee Lewis song, Great Balls of Fire. This is Great Balls of Purple. It's outstanding. And this is another one of our winners so far, the Mini Me Coleus Chartreuse. It lights up the border and it lights up purples. It's a fantastic combination. So those are keepers. I would want those myself. Whee! Color Blaze Coleus love sun or shade, and they are trialed and tested in Florida. Now, with Florida's heat all year round, that's asking a lot, but they do well in sun or shade. I've noticed that the lime ones get a little bit of brownish on it. The lime thyme over there that we'll see, and this one sometimes has a little brownish, but it's got partial shade in the morning only. It's great. The Angelonia is getting tired, and this is the perfectly pink. There was a comment said that the perfectly pink, the person liked it because of the more intense color versus this one that you can hardly see. Here's the Wedgwood pink right next to it. It recedes a little bit, but would be good in a container. The South Unplugged White is a standout. It's very good. I wish it had more little blooms on it, but I'm too fussy. This one is a survivor. This is the Scaevola Stardiva pink. After a while, my tongue gets tied trying to remember all these long names. But it's a survivor. Like, wow, it's doing well versus the others aren't. This one I would buy next year. This is the Dahlia Virtuoso Vibrant Violet. How much have you deadheaded these lately?
Not lately.
Not lately. So to me, I got one plant, and to me, the color is stunning, and I don't see all the mass of dead blooms like I do on the yellow over there. Um, I don't know if I'm going too long. Anyway, Mini Vista plum veined, fabulous. I would buy that. The Tierra Blue, you can see how they shine from a distance. And Tierra Pink, all of those are keepers for sure. Now here is the Bermuda Beach that it's third revision evidently, and it has a little bit deeper pink and then a softer pink with a white eye in it and then a white background. I think that's great. It looks even better over in the roses area, and I wonder if maybe we have a little fungus through here, but still it's holding in there pretty good. I'll backtrack a bit to this one. This is a gorgeous plant. You have to like that color. It's the Dahlia Virtuoso Pinkerific. They like to have cute names, Pinkerific. And some of the newer blooms have kind of a gold hue that blends into the pink as it goes out. I'd say this is uh, not as much of an old bloom problem as the yellow is. It's kind of in between the yellow and the purple. This you do see some of the old blooms, but it's not that bad. I would recommend that. And this is the Wedgwood Blue Angelonia that just has had it, and it's on vacation for I don't know how long. It's not really blooming much now. Gomphrena Trufula Pink, I think one of the best Gomphrenas there are. Been out for years. That was a bonus plant we got, and it's always happy in the ground. Waves in the wind. Looks great in a container, too. The other petunia we got is just three bubble gum. People are saying, you're not going to plant bubble gum, are you? It's going to take over the world. Well, I just planted three, and it holds its own. You put that in a container, expect it to eat most of the other plants. It's a wonderfully vigorous plant. It shines when they plant it on the north border. You can see it from 2 blocks away. So their Vista bubblegum petunia is their top seller and been the most popular plant. You see the Kufia again, the frosted violets. It looks good in the ground too. This is Angelonia Wedgwood Blue. It's on vacation. Yeah, but the salvia, I particularly like this So Blue salvia. It's like Victoria Blue on steroids. It's a really great one. But we've had problems with the scaevola over here too. This is the whirlwind pink. A lot of them died, and that's sad. And the portulaca, they look kind of wilty and not the right color green that this one looks like. So it's hard to show you. And they've been buzzed by rabbits. Um, I have to look at it. This is the Mojave pink, and I think this is the mango back there, what's left of it. It's pretty hard to find it. But I would probably, if this were my yard, I'd try to plant them only in a container because they're popular, evidently. Okay, so some of the bonus plants we got are, look at this. This is a coleus. It's a color blaze, golden dreams. And how can you complain about a plant like that? This is lime thyme, another really good one. It has minimal blooms, which is desirable in a coleus. A little of the leaves look a little bit sun scorched, but not bad. So I love the bright chartreuse. That's a good one too, even though that part fell off. It's just going nuts. This is a new one for 2025. It's a Nemesia. Now, Nemesia, I don't expect much end of July to August. I expect it to stop blooming entirely, in fact. This is called Bluebird, and the fact that it has quite a few blooms is an excellent thing because usually they're tired of it and they don't want to perform anymore. Nemesia osteospermum are spring and fall plants. They like the cooler season. Design-wise, that's why I put some of those plants off to the side. I know they aren't going to do as well as a petunia in the front, and with a little bit of shade to help it out a bit. Um, Lobelia used to be one of those too that kind of likes cool seasons. But the fact that this little baby is blooming and the blooms are beautiful, I give it a thank you because usually they're just no blooms at all this time of year. The North Trials area. This is shade. A lot of areas of our regular garden doesn't have shade. Uh, we are lucky we got a lot of shade plants. We're lucky that we got the coleus this year because it's filled in gorgeous. Oh, the coleus over here is torchlight, color blaze torchlight. That's a knockout every single year, and we've had it for a number of years, so we're quite lucky. And you'll see how the color blaze lime time does not have some of that sun scorch on it because it's in mostly shade. That makes a difference, but it still will grow in sun. All right, so get my hat back on. Um, we got three kinds of new impatiens this year, the Rockapulco series, and we've got rose, red, and a pink. Apple blossom actually is a light pink. One thing we noticed early on with these begonias, Rockapulco, is they often had a lot of their blooms underneath the leaves. And I had one of the proven winner people come over last month. We were talking about something else and she said, oh, well, all you do is you just pinch the leaves off on top of it. I don't have time to do that, particularly if it's in a big mass planting. So that I wasn't quite as happy about. I do wish more of them would show above the plant. This is the rose color, and it is a beautiful color. And they are rosettes, too. They're like double plants, so good for that. The other ones were the red here and it looks toward this side. The red, the blossoms are showing above the leaves a little bit. So these are the picky things that we do when we evaluate things. Oh, well, that plant is making blooms below the leaves. Oh, well, anyway, so we kind of step back and think of a wow factor, and you think, wow, that's pretty nice. Most of these are above. It's not as massive blooms. I don't know why it's got more blooms on the far side. That is the apple blossom, the light pink. But any of these would be a great plant. They would look wonderful in a container, a hanging basket. What?
In fairness to this, last time we were here, it had a lot more flowers.
Yeah.
You can see the deer have eaten a lot of them.
Yeah.
A lot of bare stems sticking out there.
Okay.
There were definitely more
See,
flowers last time.
this area here was completely upended by the woodchuck early in the season. We didn't think any of these begonias were going to make it. I'm impatiens. I'm probably saying the wrong plant. These are impatiens. But it routed through here and cut them off and dug them up. So anyway, the critters this year are something else. Now we also got three new begonias. I do have the name right now, and they all have Space Age as their name for their moniker. This one is Space Age Europa. The leaves are supposed to be a little bit bigger than its cousin, Black Hole, but I much and most people much prefer this one because of the intense difference in the coloring. It really truly does have a black hole in the middle with a burgundy color to it and a burgundy edging. So this one I think is a fabulous begonia and it would look great in a pot or a specimen. Now, opinions are divided on this one. This is Space Age Triton. And people said, oh, I like it. It's very silvery. And look at the backlight when the sun shines through it. And it is pretty there. Other people say it looks moldy. So you got personal opinions on that. And I would love it if any of you choose to at the end of the season. It doesn't have to be anybody on the trials team. If you give me feedback on would you buy it? Now, that's what the company's interested in. So I try to send that out in August. Would you buy it? Yes or no? And why? So some people will say, well, I wouldn't buy this impatient red because I don't like red. Okay, well, then that's not the plant's problem. Or some people might say, I wouldn't buy this, it looks moldy. Okay, don't like the color. Um, but that's another thing that I like to send in, the percentage of people that said they would or wouldn't buy, and I think they do like that. I don't know of anybody else that does that in their trialing things. So anyway, this has come out quite well, and we put some extra coleus torchlight there and the Triton. Now I think Triton with that silvery look would look good if you did a container or a design that had a deep burgundy purple with silver plants in it. Now that would look good, but it doesn't stand out as much as Black Hole and the Space Age Europa right there. And I think that's about it for North Trials. Okay, so we're in the theme garden area. We have 7 big pots here. We have 2 in the front entrance and 2 over there. We got these pots about 2 or 3 years ago, used from 4 Star Greenhouse, which is one of the 3 major growing areas for proven winners. Gave it to us at a bargain basement price, which is good. They're about $300 some dollars. They were $40. They're used. We had to replace some of the water meters, and they are self-watering pots. Now, let me tell you about self-watering pots. Now, we've had 3 years to do that. Well, you can't just leave them alone. You have to wait until the roots of the plants grow down to be able to meet the inner water reservoir, which is down in here. It's a hollow area we fill up with water. So you have to keep after watering from the top for the first 4 to 6 weeks. And then you have to watch it to make sure the outflow tube isn't getting plugged. Now, last year we had an ant colony. I think that's probably what did it. That got up in the outflow tube, clogged it, and all the plants died because they were way too wet. Those were calibrachoas, which need to be in a container, but they hate being wet, so they all died. So self-watering plants are not perfection. They do help. It's less work because you're not watering as often during the mid-late season, but they have their foibles. These are called Dot. It's from a company called Crescent. Uh, Incidentally, while I'm saying that, I can't really, as an extension person, recommend one type of pot or one type of plant material. Yes, we trial proven winners, but there's tons of other plants that we'd love to trial and other companies that do great work too. I loved Ball, for instance, when we got those. So we're not sold just on proven winners, although we like them very much. It's just we can't get any others. Okay, back to the pots. These bumps all over the outside is actually Braille, and it's a Robert Frost poem, Spring Pools. I can't read it, but I think that's an interesting idea. Some of our plants we will plant in the ground and in the pots to contrast them. We have the same problem with the scaevola over here. The white one seems to be the weakest. I don't know if there's Phytophthora fungus here, but all 5 died that we put in the ground. Um, and look, now I see it today. The blue and the pink are also taking a dive. So we're having problems with scaevola. But look at the whirlwind white in a pot. It is gorgeous in a pot. So this is new soil every year now. You're not going to carry a fungus disease in that. And it just shows you that there's a difference between container growing and the in-ground. Uh, the dahlia, pinkerific, gorgeous here with the perfectly pink angelonia. I'm seeing more blooms on this in the container. The new one, Angelonia Wedgwood Pink and the Wedgwood White. Those are the 2 new ones this year. So they look better in the pots. And even the Angelonia Purple looks like it's blooming a lot better than in the ground there. So you're happier here, except for we just walked up and we noticed that something's wrong with that dahlia, and I don't know what. Maybe the spot's too wet. Maybe the drainage has to be checked. The classic carmine dahlia over there looks great. Stuff happens with Mother Nature, so you can't be perfect. And oh my gosh, do our trials team try hard in the greenhouse and through growing. But there's always something we're keeping up with them. The portulaca, you can see the colors here a little bit better. This one is very nice. This is the mango, which is orange with a deeper orange center. The mango, in my book, had the highest death rate in the greenhouse. It did not want to live, and we were lucky to get these out. It was not the problem of the greenhouse, but it just was a weaker plant. And some critter has been snacking all the blooms off of this one, which is the tangerine, and that's too bad.
It is interesting, if I can interrupt, Ann, the mango over there
Yeah.
didn't get eaten either. The other flavors did.
So
Whatever it is.
So you don't like mangoes much. All right, just like Japanese beetles are not supposed to like kufia. I don't like that wasp. I'm going to move. They're not supposed to like the kufia, and they ate all of our kufia in various areas. Like what? Um, Again, high marks for the salvia so blue. Now here's the come over here. I don't know if anybody can see it. Here's the Coleus mini-me. Can you pick out the reversion in this? Watermelon. It's got a darker one right there. But still, the plant is a lovely plant. Nice, short. It's not going to take over the entire pot and well shaped. And here's the kufia not eaten. Oh, take that back. There are 6 Japanese beetles right there enjoying themselves. They're eating the petunia too. A mini Vista yellow. It's fabulous in the ground. It's fabulous in the pot. And I don't know. Oh, one thing here's way over here is the petunia tiara pink, and we've noticed that it seems to be even bigger spread and a little bit more vigorous than the tiara blue. Tiara blue is an A plus. Tiara Pink is an A plus, and so is this, which is the Mini Vista Plum Vein blended in. And that's about all I have to say. I know some of our portulac are, you know, under duress from critters and other things, but I do want to thank each and every person that has helped in the greenhouse this year. I'm amazed at that team, and also all the people that help take care of trials and all the people that give evaluations in. Thank you, everyone. You help make this possible.
Thank you.